I do want to talk about this because I do think it's worth mentioning that another person kind of caved in to this mob of people because of what happened with what's going on with the unions and all that. And again, I just find this whole thing intriguing because, this is Bill Maher, which I'd have thought of all people that would have just went about their business. He would have been the main one, but he's reversing his decision to restart production on his HBO show. The decision follows a similar one made by Drew Barrymore, which we talked about. And it won't be taping, I guess, until this stuff ends. My decision to return to work was made when it seemed nothing was happening and there was no end in sight for the strike. Now that both sides have agreed to go back to the negotiating table, he's delaying. That's an excuse, Bill. Just be honest. You're not doing this because, the mob has demanded that you not do it. And that's what this is, because they've been negotiating or going back to the negotiating table. I don't think that has much to do with it, because that doesn't ensure that a deal is actually going to be made. Right. But yeah, like going back to the original point that I made before, I just find this whole thing to be stupid. I mean, I just can't find a better term than that, because you call this for what it is. And people are going to try to make it seem like you're pro-corporate because they've made up this fantasy scenario where this is like one of those workers fist in the air type of movements situations, when all this is a mega corporation or multiple mega corporations and the other side, the unions, right, which have their own guys that get their pockets lined up, are trying to get certain or begging to have certain demands be met, which that kind of sounds contradictory in terms. So it's less of a demand and it is more just straight up begging. And for me, the point that I've made, and I've been very, very, very consistent on this issue, is that you have the opportunity for all the creative people to do something that evolves beyond whatever this stupid setup is, where it has an entity talking on behalf of thousands of people trying to negotiate things that some people that are even within the union don't even care for, right? Like certain number of writers and the writers, like they don't even care about that stuff. Yet some of them don't. Yet, how can we not evolve beyond that when we have all these supposedly creative people? And again, it's not to toot my own horn. The reason why I bring up what we did is because it's an example of a person with one person that is with far less resources than a lot of these people. And y'all would argue that they're far more creative than me. Some would say that, let these idiots say it, I'm not creative at all. So all these geniuses can't come up with something that seems to be a better suit. And maybe it does upend the entire industry. Maybe it doesn't leave room for mega corporations that make billions of dollars, but you can still be wildly successful and you can still be very profitable. But that's not even the conversation, because what happens is if you try to do something that's outside of that, well, you're betraying the established. Well, I don't want to say the establishment. It's more of these unions, which I guess they are. You can argue they're the establishment, but you get what it is. And I'm saying they demand that you act a certain way. They don't like it. They throw you under the bus. They call you the worst person in the world. They call you these names. You're a scab or whatever, these dumb, goofy names they even call me, even though I'm not a part of their industry. When they see someone else try to do something that's outside of that. And again, oftentimes, like with Drew, like with Bill, it's not even in defiance of the unions. They're not doing that in defiance of the unions. So now all of them are losing. You got people that want to work that can't. And I'm not talking about just the guys that are part of the unions. I'm talking about look, if nobody's working, there's other people that are part of making something come to life from a production standpoint that are not striking right now. Either way, they can't work. So everybody's getting screwed over. But I'm just trying to figure out why the geniuses can't pull their resources together and come up with something that does not require them to beg to be accepted, embraced, or beg for the access to the resources of people that that have all this money, or that we're supposed to believe are evil. Evil, greedy, all these terms. Like, why y'all want to enter in these deals with these guys? Why? I got to believe that they're either stupid or something nefarious is going on, because it doesn't make sense. It's not 30 years ago. I'm streaming. I'm having conversations. This is just that alone. Technology is just advanced so much that you can skip the line, or rather, you don't have to go have all these middlemen that are being part of these projects. Wouldn't it be more conducive to solving the economic problems to just do it yourself? But that's not even on the table, evolving beyond whatever this setup is. It's something to think about. That's all I'm saying. Don't forget to check out my comic book company over at Rippaverse.com. After 2 multi-million-dollar campaigns, you can still get ISOM #1 and #2. Up next this fall is Alpha Core #1, written by one of the most prolific writers of all time, Chuck Dixon, and penciled by Joe Bennett. And if you can't wait for new content, go to our website right now and pre-order the first official Rippaverse hoodie. Y'all be easy.